add about what you said before, because I participate in a few different collaborative groups with other therapists, and with the new law with Sandusky, as much as we are all celebrating that, there's also this fear, and I feel it personally, about reporting, because I'm afraid if I don't report something, and then I'm going to get in trouble, and yet sometimes I report things that probably don't meet the criterion, but if that gets reported by somebody else, and then they come back on me and say, why didn't you report that? And so I wanted to get a little bit more direction on what is the responsibility of a therapist. How are we judged in the legal system regarding this? Is there like some sort of definition between, yeah, you really should have done this, but this was a judgment call, so we're going to kind of, give you a hall pass. Not that we want hall passes or to let things go, but it is really hard for us to make that judgment call.
Yeah. And all of this are judgment calls. I mean, that's what everything is. And I can go back to, there's no blood test, there's no, yes, no, there's no positive or negative. It's not, the pregnancy test. You can't be like a little pregnant. In this situation, you can be a little abused. I mean, it's a continuum. So, I would say that it's important to be as specific as possible when you share. They don't like opinions. They want facts. So I think in terms of your concern, in terms of how you're looked and how you're judged, if you're able to share, be as objective as possible in what you're sharing as opposed to subjective, that would help color things. I also think it's important to, if you're in doubt, and I feel like it's the mantra, if you're in doubt, report. It's like, if the glove fits, you must acquit. But if you really are in doubt, report for the sake of both your own liability as well as the child. So the judgment is really, if you were aware of a situation, you did nothing, there will probably be judgment.
But I mean, even like in a situation, like, I probably make reports to CYS probably twice a month, sometimes more than that, just because I work with kiddos and it's always a judgment call and all that kind of stuff. But and then you see like nothing coming about from it, and yet you still see a child who could be in danger. And so the other dynamic is just that it is hard because even, we're saying this is what the standard is, but you still better call anyway. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I hear you saying. This is how it'll be judged, but you're still accountable for calling in, even if it's not to that standard.
And let me go back to what you first said, because I think that was really telling. How you call in, nothing is done, and the child still remains in danger. And so that is the piece that you need to move on. So that if you or any of you are experiencing that, if you've called and you've made a report, you feel this, you disagree with the decision, you feel they haven't gotten it, they're missing it, the child's still in danger, call, re-report, call a supervisor, continue, be that, squeaky wheel. Because time and time again, it's those situations that people didn't do that follow-up work. It's like, if I had only done that. That's where the judgment's going to come. And it's going to be your judgment on yourself because you didn't make that call. So that is the piece that I would encourage you to do, is we can all make the system work. If we step back and say, well, it's not our responsibility, and again, this is like perfect for looking at ethical issues. It's our responsibility as a society. Go back to that slide in the cartoon, that if it's not working the way you believe it should be working, then it's your responsibility to hold it accountable. And make that call, be that pain, be the one that calls the supervisor, be the one that takes action on behalf, because you're the ones, if you're the reporter, you're the one who knows what's going on. You're reporting for a reason. People don't report because they have nothing else to do, or because they love doing this, or want to put families through it, or put themselves through the process. None of that stuff is good. None of that stuff makes us feel good. So if you are concerned enough that you're making that call, and you remain concerned because nothing's done, then I would continue.